Good evening, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and this is Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. Our live date is July 17th, 2021, but some of you might be watching our recording of this. So whether you're watching us live or watching the recording, welcome. Tonight's show is a really important theme. It's all about standing up for justice, social and racial equality, and we have some really remarkable people that have joined us. We have really amazing guests. And I want to say I'm going to add to the spotlight my special friend, Trish, who's co hosting this show. And Trish is really who inspired us to do this topic. She took an amazing course. And Trish, tell us just a little bit about the course that you took. And of course, your teacher is with us tonight, which is really cool.
I'll tell you a little bit about it because I'm going to share a whole lot more a little later. Um, it's a really profound course that gives you an opportunity to look at the filters in which you live your life through. It's an expansion of compassion. And for any of you who've ever watched my show or any of the shows that Scott and I run together, you know that that's the big piece of my life. And I'm so grateful that Bridge has, chosen to share her love. That's really what it is, her love and her work in the world. And I'm delighted to introduce you. Reverend Bridge Feltis is an artist, singer, and metaphysical minister, a founder and the CEO of the Intersection for Mankind, founder and dean of headmaster teacher for the Remember Institute. And these two organizations set out to inspire humanity to consider the necessity for the disciplines of art, science, spirituality, and technology to collaborate for the benefit of all of humanity. So,
Beautiful.
delighted.
Greetings.
Welcome. So good to have you with us, Bridge.
I'm very happy to be here and honored for the opportunity to connect.
Beautiful. And I'm going to bring her on camera and I'll let Trish do the introduction. This is Ava Park, and Ava's been on the show before. She's been on our Street Talk show. She's the founder of the Museum of Women. And Trish, want to add a little bit?
Um, the Museum of Women is amazing, and it sounds like I can't wait to meet you, Ava, in person. I know we've met a couple times. Um, so I'm just gonna your storytelling founder, spiritual director of the Goddess Temple of Orange County, a women's spiritual organization meeting at the Museum of Women on Sundays, the Sunday Goddess services on the holy days. Founder and board member of Orange County People for Animals. We love animals. Orange County's largest and most active animal education nonprofit. Some of the conversations that we've had really have been about what it is to be in the sacred feminine. And those have been really powerful conversations. And I loved just meeting you over the course of this COVID time. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all once again. COVID actually closed us. The Orange County Health Department contacted us March 15th, 2020, and said all museums in Orange County are going to be closed. You will close within the week. And we had to suddenly organize a lot of our artifacts and lots of things. So right now we have left that space and we're looking for our new space. So I just affirm that somehow everything, even negative things, are somehow working out for us, and we'll find a great new space, and that'll be perfect for us, and we'll open once again very soon.
And maybe for all of you listening now, you might have an idea for Miss Ava, because this is how networking happens. So let's put
absolutely. Any ideas, please let me know.
Put the magic out in the world.
Well, we're going to be back with having a pre-show conversation in about 6 minutes. I want to invite everybody, of course, as always, as you come on in, tell us your name and where you're from. Thank you, Lynn and Lee from Justine, first ones there. John, you're always with us from Norfolk, Virginia. Glad to have you with us. And I'm grateful for all the people coming in. Eleanor Joy, one of our regulars from Vancouver Island. We are, as you know, we always raise money on this show. And tonight we are raising money for the Stand Up for Justice campaign, the Jane campaign. And Pato and Antoinette, two dear friends of Trish and myself, actually with us. They're with us live. It's incredible. Well, they're going to be with Trish. There's Antoinette. And I'm going to meet them a little bit later this evening. I'm at my home, but then I'm going to race off to where they're doing a concert close to my home. But you know, we always like to get music going. And so this is a really powerful video that Pato put together, Stand Up for Justice, and it's really what this show is all about tonight. So kick back, enjoy the video, and then we're going to have a lovely conversation with Reverend Rich Feltus and Ava Park in just about 6 minutes.
Was walking to the store one night to get something for his younger brother. He had his ski mask on, probably was so hopeful for the next day.
Stop, I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
Relax, just relax. Relax.
They dosed the 140-pound Elijah with ketamine, a powerful sedative. Elijah had a heart attack. He was rushed to the hospital and put on life support. Eventually, doctors declared him brain dead. 3 days later, he was taken off life support.
Let me tell them the truth now. Too many killed by the police yearly. Thank God forbid your fault so we can see clearly. Black people get it worse, yes, most severely. We pray for the day we can be treated fairly. When crooked cops turn off their body camera, killing innocent people all across America, playing judge, jury, and executioner. They live above the law and get away with murder. We need justice against police brutality. It's time for the people to police the police. We need justice in our judicial system. Modern day slavery in our private prisons. We need justice for those on death row who are innocent. We need to save them now. We need justice for those on death row who are innocent. We need to save them now. We need justice against the Ku Klux Klan. It's time to stop domestic terrorism. We need justice for all the children segregation system. We need justice for all the boys and girls who are being sex trafficked all over the world. We need justice for every family who suffer in the system of inequality. We need justice, yes, for each and every one. Together we are strong, come on, and stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up strong. Stand up strong. And stand up now. And stand up now. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up strong. Stand up strong. And stand up now. And stand up now. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up strong. Stand up strong. And stand up now. And stand up now. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. Stand up strong. Stand up strong. And stand up now.
That is such a powerful, powerful video. Wow. I'm going to put the spotlight back on our special guests, Reverend Bridge Feltus, Ava Park, and of course our co-host, Trish. And Antoinette is there, coming in and out, by the way.
There.
There she is. Hi, Antoinette. So, I think maybe just, first of all, it's wonderful to have you with us, Antoinette, directly with us. And I'd just love to open it up to Reverend Bridge or Ava. Having just seen that video, is there anything that comes up for you that you'd like to reflect? And Ava, you're muted.
Wow. It's interesting. I don't think I was completely prepared for the visuals. And I have a personal story. And I'm glad that there's this pre-show time so that I don't have to spend my 10 minutes on this story. And at the same time, perhaps it's more important than what I wanted to talk about in my 10 minutes. The work that I'm doing, there is a motivation behind it. And what we're doing is we're teaching about racism and other forms of oppression throughout the world, including 15,000 years of history. And this was not my plan to be teaching this topic. I am a metaphysical psychologist. And so my work revolves around the idea that science, art, technology, and spirituality should be treated as collaborative with each other.
Yes.
And so that's my work. And then something happened about 4.5 years ago. I had a cousin, I should say, who lived in the boot heel of Missouri. And he lost his job, and he had 3 children. And the mothers of his children, 2 mothers of his children, they filed for child support when he lost his job. And when you do that in Missouri, I don't know if it's the same all over the country, but they had to apply for assistance, and they ask you who the other parent is so that they can recuperate some of the money they give to the mothers. And because he didn't have a job, he was unable to make the payments. And so they put out a warrant for his arrest after a couple of months. He eventually found a job and paid back something like $8,000 is what he owed. 2 weeks after he paid this money back, he was pulled over and the warrant had not been removed from his record, from his record. So when they pulled his identification up, it showed a warrant for his arrest. So they took him in. This was a Friday evening. They took him into custody, and he was a severe diabetic, and they didn't believe him. And he began to go into diabetic shock because he was insulin dependent. And they did not allow him medical attention. And when his girlfriend came with his insulin kit, they did not allow her to give it to him. They accused him of lying, accused him of trying to manipulate the system and try and get out of custody. They were holding him over the weekend until Monday to arraign him, and he could not afford the bail. So he had to stay there the whole weekend, and they literally ignored his cries for help, his screaming in the middle of the night. And at one point, the other inmates who were being held in custody were shouting and screaming. And so they took him they put him in a chair and dragged him out of his cell and hosed him down with a water hose to try and get him to shut up. He died there before Sunday afternoon. He was dead. They tried to say that he died in the hospital. They tried to say that they didn't know. But the security cameras say different. His sister and his girlfriend both came to the hospital to try and demand and beg and plead for them to give him medical care, and they ignored it. They denied him that. When my family from Missouri called me and told me this, we began to try and spread his story on social media to make this public, to expose this thing. And there were several other people in that particular facility who died in similar circumstances over several years' time. And the responses that we got from people were shocking. People who considered themselves to be good people, nice people, were saying that we made it up, saying that we exaggerated, saying that there must be more to the story, saying that he deserved this because he should have paid his child support. He was calling him a deadbeat, calling the mothers of his children who didn't have a choice in putting his name on the application, calling them gold diggers, saying it was their fault. And so all of a sudden, my work got shifted to this because I could not sit by and not say what I see and talk about this disconnect in our society. And so my work is it's not specifically about racism in and of itself. We do talk about the history of racism, but what we're really doing is guiding people in a transformation of how they show up in the world and how they connect with the world around them, how to have empathy, how to practice humility, how to practice integrity. And we define those very clearly and have comprehensive practices that we teach. How to process difficult information, how to have conversations about that information, how to deal with conflict, and how to collaborate. We teach all of this in the course, how to identify your own bias. And again, this was not my intention that this would be my focus of teaching. And it just so happens that that is what I've been called to do. And we're now in year 2.5 of the course, Heal Thyself, which is the course we created. It's 6 weeks long. and it's very demanding. Scott, you were saying how Trish was kind of preoccupied with the chorus. It is very demanding. It's very difficult, and it is specifically designed for people racialized as white to come in, be exposed to the history and also the spiritual and emotional and psychological aspects of why this is. And we're not playing around with like bypassing and shame and all this kind of stuff. We actually really want to have sustainable, results-oriented conversations. And so that's what we're doing. So as I'm watching that video, a couple of things. First of all, there's a boy in the video with the electrode thing on his head. That's actually my best friend. He's an actor. That's not a picture of the real boy. This is an actor, and that's my best friend. He's now all grown up, but that was him back in the 90s, I believe, doing that. So it was really, I don't know, just like popped me out of myself for a moment. I'm like, oh wait, that's Ken.
Whoa.
Yeah, to see him in this helmet playing that role, I've not been able to watch that film because it is my friend, you know. So that and just the surreal feeling of seeing all of these stories and knowing how many more there are, that on average it's something like every 28 hours a Black person is killed extrajudicially by cops or vigilantes. So this is a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much for the work you're doing, for sharing that. And
I have a question for you, Reverend.
Sure.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing, and I really love that you're a reverend as well too. You know, because we have to sit there and big up the divine mothers and the ministers and the work that we're doing. And as we're working towards social justice, and we're dealing with a lot of angry people. And one of the things that I kept talking about, and I tell people, because I've had people get pissed off at me because I was preaching the gospel. And it's like, listen, we're sharing the good news here. But no matter how we're going to sit there and do this approach on racial justice, we have to do it from a spiritual level. Absolutely. You know, that is totally 100% important for me and for Pato as well, too. So when white people are getting angry and mad and they want to kill people and hurt people and an eye for an eye and everything, we're saying that's not our way. And we'll tell you and explain to you why it's not our way. So please don't speak for us and do the cause for us, because we are angry and we're mad, but we also know how to control ourselves and not be the things that came against us. You know, so that's very important. I really love what you were sharing, and I love how you're being so truthful about it, because I keep saying it's like we can be spiritual, but we can tell the truth. Before we get to beauty and goodness, we always have to speak the truth too. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
I think it's important,
of course.
with the metaphysics work that I do, I teach that it's very important to incorporate all three planes of existence: mental, physical, and spiritual. So all three are important. They don't exist separately. They are intertwined and incorporated inside of each other. It's all one thing. We are one with everything. So
I'm gonna get your Rancher book. We're all into that too. The science, evolution, the spiritual, the metaphysical. We're so there with you.
So when we try and bypass one plane of existence, then there's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be discord and suffering, really. And so we are really trying to encourage people to disrupt those ways of thinking, because this is really deep stuff. It's not, and it's deep, but it's also, I believe very, very much that it is probable that we can change this. I believe that. And so the work that we're doing, listen, the anger And violence doesn't come out of nowhere. And so when we talk about white violence or white anger and white hostility around these topics, we need to understand that people are afraid. And they're afraid because they come from generations of people from Europe who were treated this way before Europeans treated Black people this way, before they treated Native Americans this way. They treated their own people this way. They were hanging people in Europe. They were cutting people's heads off. They were torturing them. They were burning them at the stake. They burned millions of women. Mm-hmm. So this is yes, it's a war. And it is, in some ways, a very subtle war for those who have white privilege. They don't necessarily experience most parts of it. And the revealing of that is horrifying, if you can imagine, and very, very, it's challenging to accept. And so one of the first things we do in the course is we talk about how to let it in, even, you know, what is happening to me when I'm hearing these things and I want to block it out. We explain what disassociation is. We explain the Zen Buddhist version of what humility is. And one of the things I wanted to mention, our topic here is around equality. We actually teach that the assertion of equality is out of integrity because everybody doesn't need the same thing. Everybody is not equal. We need to make sure that everybody has what they need. Everyone has access to having their basic needs met and access to education and healthcare and freedom, healthy food.
Bridge, I need to just come in for a moment because we have to go live on Facebook and all of our YouTube channels. And it takes me a minute to do that.
Hold on,
right before that.
I need to say something. So I do want to address something that's coming in the comment box. And the thing about Bridget's course is that I now can say that I know where I've participated in white supremacy, even as a good white person or as a non-racist white person. I am inherently racist because of the culture that I grew up in the community, in the society that I grew up in. And it's I didn't choose it, but I participate and I perpetuated it for many, many years. And so that's the place of the one thing that I got. I mean, there's a lot of things that I got, but the one really big thing is like, I can now say I'm racist and I know it. And now I can see the filters in which I live.
But quickly be responding to Terry Russo. Mm-hmm. No, Aunt Adriana, do not lump all, go down right there. Yeah. Do not lump all white people together as one. We are not all racist, just as all Blacks are not all the same. Yes, we know this. Please. I really want people to sit there and understand when we start talking about white people, we're not saying all white people are the same. All Black people are not the same. All skin folk is not kinfolk. Regardless, we're just talking about the inequalities. And as she was sitting there saying, it's like, even though if she did not participate in slavery or participate in different things, she benefits from the system of white privilege, which a lot of white people do. And that is just a given. So this is not a shame, blame, guilting people at all. We just want to sit there and just be like, let's understand the truth. Let's understand the history. Let's move forward together, because this is what I'm trying to do, is move forward with people together. So let's put all that behind us and let's talk about the truth. And then we get to the beauty and goodness together.
Yes. That's what this whole show is all about. And we've got broadcast partners waiting to know why they're not getting the feed. So I got to do that.
It's got to be clear.
I got to do my job here. But you guys, we're off to a great start here. So give me a second to do what I got to do. All right. Live on custom stream.
We shall be the peacemakers. We shall
Welcome, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and it is Saturday Night Alive for you, the Global Peace Tribe. And I want to welcome all of our friends that are watching on well over 100 Facebook pages, groups, all of our friends watching on YouTube. And I want to encourage you, come on into the Zoom room and join us. Tonight's show is going to be very dynamic. We already have people in our Zoom room who have been commenting, and in the early Zoom room show already was creating some really wonderful and important conversation. So this is, tonight, it's all about social and racial justice. We have a remarkable group of presenters and beautiful music. Please come on into our Zoom room, and it's easy to do that. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. And there's a lot of advantages to registering. First and foremost, you'll be able to immediately come into our Zoom room where you can directly interact with Ava, Antoinette, Reverend Bridge Feltis, all of our different presenters. You're also then going to be on our email list where you'll get an email every Monday that has the replay of this show and all 70 previous shows that we've done. You'll also get an email on Wednesday letting you know about the upcoming show. We also provide special gifts, special discounts, and special events for all the people that are part of our Global Peace Tribe. So please do join us. I am going to put the spotlight on not one, not two, but three beautiful beings. This is my dear friend and teaching partner, Trish Wright, in the middle, and she is flanked by Ione and Antoinette Hall. Many of you have seen Antoinette on our shows before. She's one of our absolute favorite guests, and she is co-hosting with us tonight, along with Trish. So I'm going to put the full spotlight on all of you and take it away.
I'm so blessed to be here this evening hosting and with you, Scott, and with our presenters. It's a really beautiful show that's touching my heart. That's really, really close to me. So welcome everyone to our 70th show that we produced every Saturday night since the lockdown in April 2020. During these highly challenging COVID time, very evolutionary times. This is the third show of season 6, an incredible mix, making contact, building connections, and raising consciousness July through September. And again, we thank you so much for all your donations when you register for your Zoom link and when you donate to our GoFundMe. This is what keeps the show thriving, and this is what gives us the opportunity to bring all these amazing guests on and to really amplify their voice. And as you know, by your donation, we deeply appreciate your support because this does empower each and every voice that comes on. And your donations are going to help us greatly in season 6. So this is going to be an amazing show. So just buckle up, strap in, you're in for a good one. For the equality in relationships, social and racial justice for all, Saturday Night Alive is dedicated to acknowledging some of the most challenging issues within our current society and culture. As humanity evolves, which we are, we some of the most painful conditions that exist, including how we continue to perpetuate these situations. And if you caught the early show, which was amazing, go back and listen to it. And if we just got into some really deep, beautiful things. So one of the most difficult issues at this time is the inherent racism and social injustice in our world. So I'd love to share some of our incredible presenters. We've got Antoinette Rootsdata. I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself a little bit.
All right, yeah. So, well, you can read that.
All right. Antoinette Rootsdata Hall is a world-renowned keyboardist in the reggae industry. And in 2019, the United Religions Initiative, URI, Africa, appointed the renowned reggae musicians Padobon and Antoinette Rootsdata as goodwill ambassadors of the Golden Rule. We have one of my favorite people ever, a recent favorite person ever, Reverend Bridge Feltis.
She's my favorite now.
I know, we're in love. Is an artist, singer, metaphysical minister, founder, and CEO for the Intersection for Mankind, founder, dean, and headmaster teacher for the Remember Institute. These two organizations have set out to inspire humanity to consider the necessity for the disciplines of art, science, spirituality, and technology to collaborate for the benefit of humanity. We have our beloved Ava Park, founder and director and the curator of the Museum of Women, advancing women's leadership for peace, prosperity, and justice for all. It's open Fridays and Saturdays for the public viewing. She's got some things that she wants to talk about there. I know that. Queen and Wise Women Statutory Artwork, storytelling founder, spiritual director, and the goddess temple of the Orange County Women's Spiritual Organization.
Is that an Orange County?
Close enough. Close enough.
I knew that my tongue was going to get all floppy and I was going to drag it all over the ground. We knew that.
Is she in SoCal?
Orange
You'll have
County.
to ask her.
All right then.
So Chief Reuben George of the Sunday.
I'm there.
We also have Chief Reuben George. Sundance Chief Reuben George is a member of, I don't know how to pronounce this, TSLEI Watuth Nation. I hope you correct me, please.
Watuth?
A family counselor. She's also a family counselor who has 25 years of experience in the healing field. Reuben has many years of experience in working with First Nations and tribes in wellness, correctional centers, addiction treatment centers, school districts in Canada, USA, and social services in colleges and university. Chase Iron Eyes, I'm really excited to listen to him speak, is a lead counsel for the Lakota Law Project, fighting for the civil rights of Native Americans, which includes serving as lead local counsel in the Dakotas for the Lakota People's Law Project. Alexandra Loves is an Oracle spiritual teacher, transformational and relationship guide. She teaches on anti-racism, allyship, and she's a consultant. Divinely initiated through her spiritual family in the temples of West Africa, Alexandra has spent a life cultivating her empathic, psychic, and dream work gifts. She guides and supports women in creating the life that they want by becoming who they are. Our musicians tonight are Pato Batten. Pato Batten's 4-decade public presence has increasingly transcended music to convey a positive and uplifting message of global peace and love for humanity. Now based in Southern California, he continues to record and tour the world extensively with his band, The Now Generation, while simultaneously serving as a teacher, minister, and counselor and mentor to his fans, friends. Is a singer-songwriter from San Francisco, and as a recording artist, she is committed to creating music with conscious, love-centric messages and inspires for her music to be a home and a sanctuary for humanity from duality of the world. Honey of the Heart, and I'm really excited. Thank you for your lovingness earlier. Honey of the Heart is an ambrosial mix of musical interpretation influenced by folk, soul, jazz, and world flamenco influences, created in a collective and organic manner. Fronted by Justin Encheta and Maren Metke. Their style is described as folk, soul, world roots, fusion with rich harmonies and powerful vocals. I'm really excited about tonight's program because it supports Stand Up for Justice, which is a movement to create anti-racism culture, dismantle systemic racism, and promote diversity, inclusion, to promote progressive educational and social programs while advocating for human and civil rights. So please donate to Stand Up for Social Justice, supporting human and civil rights, and you'll get the GoFundMe there. It's a GoFundMe/F/Stand Up for Justice/donate.
Thank you, Trish.
Yeah.
And so because Trish is sitting here with me right now, so we're so Scott, who's coming later, we're on a 26 city tour up and down the West Coast, starting from San Diego, going all the way up to Port Angeles, Washington, and all the way back down. This has been incredible. For the very first day that we actually started, we also went and performed also at Ione's spot in Bethel Island on her yard by the river. And what he wanted to do was do a good news tour, a peace and love tour, to come out of the pandemic, to stop the people from arguing left or right, you know, BLM, ALM, all the different things like you saw within the video. Let us come together. And the past few nights has been very amazing. And you're going to see this tonight. Hopefully, I can't tell you what Pato's going to do. He does something different every single night. But when he asked the people about Juneteenth, and he actually stole it from me, because I said, I celebrate, St. Patrick's Day. I'm not Irish. I celebrate Chinese New Year, but I am Chinese. But it's like, we can celebrate Juneteenth as well, too. We can celebrate these things. And he said, this is our theme song, Redemption Song by Bob Marley. If you could have heard the people in the audience, all white people too. We don't even have a black audience. All these white people, redemption songs, these songs of freedom. I'm like, oh my God, you're about to be so floored. It's so amazing. He is bringing people together. And as we're sitting there talking to all these groups of people all up along the coast, and I'm interviewing them, I want to talk to these people. It's like, are we standing up for justice for all people, equality for all people? This is really amazing when we can really get face to face, and come together. We have these conversations online, and it's like, what are you going to do about it now once we step out of the Zoom room? What practice are you actually going to do once we get out of the Zoom room? What are you going to do when you sit there and plant your feet and put your spot and talk to your friends and your family and everything else like that? So it's going to be an incredible show tonight. So I'm sitting here. It's like we got here from 1 o'clock. We was dying in the heat. It's so hot out here. But we set up, Pato's running sound. He's making sure everybody does stuff. Even the other night, I had to sit there and tell those guys, do not play that music. I sat there and told the guy, using the N-word, calling women bitches, and this and that. I was like, listen, if you don't stop right now, I'm going to unplug you. I'm just going to unplug you right now and just cut it down. Woo! We are on a mission and we are not playing. So right now, everybody tuning and watching, come out to the shows. We're offering free concerts up and down the West Coast. Many free concerts for the public, bringing the people together. But you got to keep it clean and you got to keep it right. We're trying to bring people together and we're trying to move forward and we're trying to understand. And that's why I love being here tonight. Thank you so much, Scott and Trish, because we are on a mission, equality and justice for all. So let's learn about this. Thank you.
I will pull up the tour schedule a couple of times. And I want to, again, just encourage everybody, please we started this fundraising campaign a few weeks ago, and it's very, very, very important. We're going to be talking about it a little bit later, going into more detail about it. But please donate to the Stand Up for Justice Jane campaign. And this is a good time to do it because as most of you who know our show, we always have lots of music. And we like to start our show with music. Nina Gray is absolutely one of our very favorite musicians. She's been on the show many times. She's the voice of our trailer. And she wrote 2 songs just for tonight's show. And honestly, as I was previewing them, I got tears. So while you're listening to Nina give this beautiful music, go to our GoFundMe and donate. Let's really raise a lot of money for the Jane campaign tonight. Here is our dear beloved Nina Gray.
Greetings and good evening, Saturday Night Live community. Nina Gray beaming in from Los Angeles. An honor and pleasure to be with you tonight during this very necessary and important conversation on race relations in this nation. A song to share, to add to this communion, written from the perspective of child's eyes. Sometimes they're able to see straight to the heart of the matter. And when I wrote this song, I was thinking about what would little Nina say? What did she believe about freedom, about peace? Enjoy. Hey, what if we retold the story? Remember the glory of all of our differences. And hey, what if we retold the script? Let go of all that old stop pretending hatred was justified. And hey, what if we raise the bar up, demanded a little more out of our lives? 'Cause I've always dreamed about freedom, freedom. But I know that we'll never be about freedom till it belongs to all of us. Freedom to feel safe in our skin, in any environment that we're in. Freedom to exist in our diverse, beautiful essence, anytime, anywhere. Men have talked for years on war and peace. They've talked themselves blue and red in the face. Men have built walls where there could have been bridges held. Men created race to separate. Who blame it on our lack of urgency? Or blame it on just having better things to do? As we rise together in 2021, turning a blind eye is something we must refuse. 'Cause I've always dreamed about peace and harmony. And I know we'll never be about peace until there's justice in these streets. Oh, ooh, nah, nah, nah. Ooh, nah, nah. Ooh, nah, nah, nah. 'Cause I've always dreamed about freedom, freedom. And I know that we're gonna be about freedom, 'cause it belongs to all of us.
She is so special.
Amazing.
Amazing. I really want to encourage people to support Nina. And it's so important for us to support all of our musical artists. So please go to ninagray.com. It's spelled NINAGRAE, ninagray.com. And you kind of scroll down, you can get music. She provides a lot of free things. But here's what I want to ask you to do, and I've done this. I support a lot of our musical artists through the Patreon program. I joined Nina at the $18 per month level. But you can come in at $8 a month, $18 a month, or $42 a month. And she provides so much. She provides free music. I'm constantly getting these lovely songs from her. And let's all really support this wonderful, wonderful artist. She's going to be back on the show. She made 2 videos for us. She's performing tonight. She says, God, I finally have like a real gig with real human beings and people where I can see them. We're beginning to be able to do that again. So that's why she's not with us tonight. But please do support her. And again, I just want to welcome everybody. We've got about 200 people in our Zoom room. Those of you, thousands watching on Facebook, come on in and join us. Come on into the Zoom room. And to kind of share her story, and introduce our very special guest. Here is my co-host for the evening, Trish.
Oh, quickly, sorry. Nina, you're in LA, so I would love to connect with you. You know, let's do something together. And we're actually doing something, a concert. I talked Pato into doing it at Lemert Park, you know, so we want to really bring people together. And I really love, you know, the female voices, and the song is, it's extremely beautiful. And I would love for you to perform that song with us out there in Los Angeles in August.
She's not with us live, but she sent a video, but I will hook you up with her, Antoinette.
Awesome.
I'll connect you.
So I do want to just acknowledge our beloved Deborah, who isn't here today. And with all of my excitement, I totally forgot to say, Deborah, we love you and thank you for taking really good care of yourself. She's at a women's event. So if we all here and the Zoom room and out there, just give her a little sprinkle of just deep love, like, oh, yeah, Deborah, we love you. So I'm delighted to share our next guest and to share a little bit about how my life has been shifting because of Reverend Bridge Feltis. And what an amazing woman, and her curriculum is whoa, like deeply transformative. And let me just tell you what's the work. Reverend Bridge is a minister of metaphysical science, having received a master's in metaphysical science and psychology at the University of Metaphysics and University of Sedona. She is an ordained member of the International Metaphysical Ministry and Advanced Theta Healing certification. Totally changed my life as well. She is the founder and author of the Remember Institute's Curriculum for Diversity Consciousness series, featuring the highly sought after Heal Thyself Transformative Initiation for People Racialized as White, a 6-week deep diving university level course, which both transforms and informs participants in ways that profoundly impacts every area of human activity and totally dissolves reality as you know it. Not only is she all of that, she is magic. And her work has touched so many lives, my life is specifically, and the people around me, because they don't have a choice. It changed my reality. And I wanted to speak a little bit about what this course can offer you from my perspective and what it's given me. And then I'm going to pass it off to you, Bridge. I was blessed to take the Heal Thyself, a transformative initiation for people racialized as white. And if you're really looking to be a better ally and looking to really change the world, it starts with you. And this course really is, it's going to shift everything for you and give you a more loving approach on the world. So things that it's helped me, I bulleted listed for you. It showed me how I intentionally participated in perpetuating white supremacy. It showed me how to move forward, not with the guilt or the shame of my ancestral past, but to move forward in love. It's given me an opportunity to see how I can love even better and even more vastly. It's given me an opportunity to live in a more integrated and community-focused society, how to compassionately approach my friends, family, and community in their self-discovery and their awareness. One more. To understand that in order to achieve equality, we have to focus on leveling up the equity. And truly, like, that landed in my being. It truly gave me a clear understanding, not just the head understanding, but really in my body, that we are one organism, one species, and one being, and that what we do individually impacts everyone, impacts others, impacts everyone around us. Mm-hmm. I learned about deep integrity, how deeply I'm out of it all the time, and how to get back into integrity with my relationships. And what it's given me is a really clear purpose, that for every oppressive, racist, sexist belief or conversation that I encounter, that I choose to use my platform and my privilege to amplify the voices of marginalized people. And it's it's from this place that I'm deeply honored to.
You got all of this from her course.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. She's amazing.
You got all of this. We need to make this a state nationwide standard.
Mandatory.
That's one of the things that we're trying to work on. Standard. That is impressive.
With the deepest love and motherly holding I have ever had. Like held me in like a basket of deep love and was like, I see you. I get you. I see this dissolving. I'm here with you. I got your hand. So I'm deeply, deeply grateful to introduce you. Reverend Bridge Feltis. Reverend Bridge Feltis.
If y'all notice, I just took a really deep breath because my heart was pounding really fast. This work is really dear to me. And before you go away, Trish, I want to ask you a question that's going to muck things up for some people who are watching right now. Right, but when we were in the pre-show, there was a comment that requested that we don't lump all white people into one box and say that all white people are racist. Trish, are you racist?
I am racist.
How's it feel to say that?
It doesn't feel as terrifying and scary because I'm no longer pretending that being nice is good enough.
And what does it mean to you to say that you're racist?
That I was born into a white supremacist society that brainwashed me non-consensually to participate in the oppression of others.
Does it mean that you're a member
the oppression of women?
Does it mean you're a member of the KKK?
No.
Does it mean you hate Black people?
No.
Does it mean that you want to kill Black people?
No.
Does it mean that you cannot love people of color?
It means that I've participated in ways without even knowing that the way that I was socialized, the way that I was taught, the way that the curriculum in school was taught, the way that I moved through the world genderized or socialized as a woman has perpetuated places where I even oppress myself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the reason I asked Trish to share this with y'all is because there's a way that we've been conditioned. We're going to talk about conditioning a lot in this 10 minutes that I have. There's a way that we in this society are conditioned that creates biases. There's no escaping it. We all have bias. We all have implicit and explicit bias. So the explicit biases are the biases that we actually are consciously aware that we have, that we choose, that we agree with, like preferences, for example, is a bias. And then there are implicit biases, which we don't necessarily know that we have. I've been doing this course now for 2.5 years. One of the things we do in this course is an exercise, a group activity, and we have not had one single run of the course. We've done it 13 times now with anywhere from 10 to 55 people in the class. We've graduated almost 300 people from this course so far. We haven't had one person racialized as white in the course who did that exercise and had no biases. So everyone has bias. It is actually a function of our brain to be able to use bias as a tool. It's just that sometimes a society is designed to manipulate that tool, and it gets used in ways that we're not even necessarily conscious of. And so if you think about racism as a bias, and that it has two different main expressions. It has the political or societal expression, which is systemic. We see it in the institutions and the laws of the land. And then there is the personal bias, which we don't always know we have. I've not had one single white person take this course who didn't discover a bias or two or three. So if we get away, and the other thing we're taught very, very early on is something that we call the Karpman drama triangle. Some people nickname it the victim triangle. And what it is a formula for storytelling where there's always a victim, there's always a villain, and there's always a savior. Nobody wants to be the victim and nobody wants to be the villain. But guess what? We all are all three. We all have combined expressions of each of those things, sometimes more than one of them at the same time. And but we're taught that these are oppositional of each other and separate, like a three-way binary, a trinary, I guess we would call that. So if we're looking at our concept of what it means to be racist, we have to get away from the idea that to be racist means that we are hateful and that we are murderous or that we wish harm on others. That's not necessarily true. Most people who have racist conditioning don't even know it. And if you when we're done with this event, go and Google Martin Luther King and look for a quote from him where he talks about who we have to be concerned with the most. It is not the KKK. It is not the white nationalist. It is the average middle class white American who doesn't think they're racist, who has biases that they don't know they have. And it's not even true that you have to like change completely who you are. The idea that I want to get across is that people you should want to know. If you can know, wouldn't you like to know? And it doesn't have to be so upsetting. If you know, then you can make different choices. You can actually identify when your choices are based on an unconscious bias. You can't do that if you're in denial of it. I am born in a country that is cis heteropatriarchal. And what that means is I'm born with cis heteropatriarchal bias. There are some ways of thinking conditioned in me that would present as being homophobic or antagonistic, even though I have friends who are queer. So this is not about good versus evil. I don't actually believe in those kind of binaries. I think we can all be any range of these things. What it's about is becoming conscious about the ways you've been conditioned, because our society is designed for the benefit of a certain small few. And the rest of us are laborers in that. And we are manipulated to keep us in that, inside of that paradigm where we are behaving in ways that perpetuate the ability for that certain few to profit off of our discord, off of our separation. And part of that is, I'm not racist. As long as you don't have to embrace that you have racist, conditioning, then you don't have to do anything about it. And there's work to do. And if we're going to come together and we're going to do that work, everybody there has to be willing to see their part in the problem. And so I want to encourage everyone listening to consider that racism does not mean evil. Racism is a conditioning. It is a system of governing. It shows up in our school systems. If you support politics of any sort, it's in our politics. It's in our healthcare system. It's in our economics. And we spend 6 weeks in my course actually showing you the evidence of this. And you'll see evidence of systems that you support, systems that you've chosen that you didn't even know were perpetuating racism. And so, you know, this is not a mystery. It's not a fairy tale. There are systems in place that have us be conditioned to be biased against anyone who's not cis heteropatriarchal, anyone who's not cis heteronormative, anyone who's not white and male, anyone who's not able-bodied and whatever that means, anyone who's not mentally normal, or who's, you know, not, what do we call that now? Neurodivergent, right? And all of these categories are in place to keep us separate. And when we deny that they're there, we can't breach it. We can't breach it. So we have to be willing to not just take it on and shrink ourselves and, you know, see ourselves as a bad person, but to just be willing to accept that we have conditioning. All of us do. I grew up in California. There are all sorts, I can remember all sorts of stories about people from Mexico and, you know, things that are just a part of like everyday life that you don't even think about. I remember watching movies as a child and even into adulthood that subliminally or unconsciously you're taking in messages that you don't even know you're taking in. So my encouragement to you all, I don't know if my time is running out or not, but my encouragement to you all is to try and see this in a different way. Try and think about it as bias. And don't get caught up in arguing over whether or not you're racist. If you're white, you have racist conditioning that subconsciously even puts you, just the defense against that is supremacist. It's superiority. And how upsetting it feels. Like if you admit that, you're going to be persecuted or hated or treated as if you're evil. We have to disrupt the whole thing. And we have to be willing to come together and have these conversations. Thank you. I don't know how much time I have left. Or...
First of all, so many people in the chat box are responding. And I'm going to share a story that I've certainly never shared here of a great embarrassment I had about my racism. My mother considered herself a good Christian woman. She taught Sunday school at my church. And one day in Sunday school, I asked my mom, who was also the teacher, why some children were darker than others.
Mm-hmm.
And my sweet mother told me a story that when God was baking all the little children, some of them he didn't cook long enough, and those are the ones who turned out with blonde hair.
Oh, wow.
And others he burned.
Oh, my.
Burned were the ones that turned out looking like you.
Wow.
Yeah. And others were cooked just perfect, like little boys and girls like me and all the ones in this classroom.
Wow.
And of course I believe that because it's my mom at church telling me that. And later in life, as I realized, oh my God, that's that idea that, you know, oh, well, black people were burned by God, you know, to a child. And my mother was a good Christian woman,
Yeah, and why would God do that? We must have deserved it in some
Well,
way.
exactly. There's something wrong, something inferior there, right? So, it's unbelievable the amount of inherent racism and
I
I'm
mean,
s-
we could just stay on the church thing, you know. How about that white Jesus?
oh yeah, well, I love that one.
All right, now y'all about to get me started.
How on earth
Now
is
y'all get me started about white surfer Jesus.
yeah,
But
why is he
going
having
back,
blue eyes?
before we get over there,
Yeah,
Reverend, I really need to connect with you in Los Angeles, please. We must link up together. You are a powerful woman. You are speaking the truth like I never heard. I'm trying to tell people, and they all get all butthurt when I say it, but you do
That's
it in
part of the conditioning.
girl.
That's how they get us.
You're absolutely right. Because that comment, that set me off. It's like, why do they always have to go there?
Because
Why
it's
do you,
frightening.
where do we ever say it's all white people,
It's
or all black people or anything? But if we take it into another concept, look at the police, right?
Yeah.
Not all police are bad,
That's right.
right? They keep saying that. It's like just the few. What about those other cops who were standing there while they walking down, kicking them down, turning a blind eye, lying, saying something else? Those are the good apples. Only the one that got prosecuted was the bad apple. What about all those other guys who were standing right there, witnessing, participating, not saying anything, and walking straight on by?
Absolutely. And
they're participating in the same system.
yeah, I mean, participation is a big part of it. And if you really think about it, even people who have immigrated here from Europe, they're immigrating to a land that has been stolen from people who were murdered and basically, killed off with genocide. And those that are still living are relegated to preserves, like wild animals that are being separated from society. And if we think about things like, wow, listen, I want to say this because I know y'all got other people who need to speak here, but I want to shed some light on why we are separate in the first place. There was an incident called Bacon's Rebellion, and this happened in the United States because the poor white people who worked on the plantation were being treated poorly by the rich plantation owner. They were not being treated with respect, and they were working alongside the Africans and the Native Americans. They were working right alongside us, and they started to form relationships with the Africans and the indigenous people. And this became a problem because they started to realize that they could band together and demand better treatment from the plantation owner. Of course, the plantation owner does not profit from that. And so the plantation owner went to the poor white folk, gave them a little bit of a promotion, threatened them that either they could be treated like the African slave or they could be the overseer. They had that's not a really good choice. Those are not options. One is like being killed and raped and beaten and not paid for your work and not able to leave. And the other is you get a little bit of pay and your freedom, maybe. So the ancestral history of this country is built around that separation between the common white folk and the common African and indigenous people. If we were to come together, guess what? So they don't want us to come together. Understand that.
They don't want us to come together, but the whole thing is that they use color against us.
That's right.
They use color because the Irish that came over who were indentured servants. We were slaves. They were indentured. But the Irish even though they couldn't sleep in a big house, they had to sleep out there with them. They was the ones who was whipping us at the same time. So they weren't necessarily like white, but not black enough, you know, to sit there and oversee and be overseers. And just like you said, it's like the economics, you know, you pit against, you know, people with money against people without money. But if you can sit there and slap everybody down in there without money, it's easy to sit there and work them. But if you can sit there and use color, then it's not even just about being poor. It's just about the color. So poor whites, black whites is not the same thing because they're still afforded opportunities that black people are not afforded. Absolutely. This is what we're trying to talk about. And this is why they're trying to shut us down. They will not let us talk about this, you know?
Yeah, the worst thing for the American economy is for us to come together. Everything falls apart because we are beginning to come together and have these conversations. And it's okay. Some things have to fall apart to build something better. And if we have the courage to let go a little bit of our comfort around, listen, I have some economic privilege. And I have to ask myself every day, I have a 24-year-old son, am I willing to let some of that go if it means my son has a better life, if he doesn't have to be in danger every time he leaves the house? You know? So I am here to have this conversation. And for me, we talk a lot about the way that racism or white supremacy has impacted the relationship between self and the body, and how this violence gets perpetuated because of the violence that's committed against the body for white people as well. So,
Reverend Bridge, I would love to invite you to please come on to the other show that Trish and I do. It's called Straight Talk. And that's where we usually have just one or two guests and we can go in great depth. And I really would like to invite you to, Antoinette has been on that show, and could we schedule that with you?
I would love to.
Great. And we will promote it to our entire list so that people can really, because you do have a lot to share.
I would love to come.
So,
and by the way, y'all, my husband is Austrian. He is a white man. We've been together for 15 years. I lived in Germany for 5 years. So I've got some experience and some education around these things. I'm not just making up stuff to stir up the pot.
oh,
So
no,
come have a conversation with me.
so clear. And I want to encourage people, do what Trish did. Take this course. She has another round starting on August 18th. And I like how she put it, a transformative initiation for people racialized as white. May we remember what we once knew before we forgot who we were. And there is a 30% off through August 4th. I'm going to go to her website, and I love the name of her website. It's the Remember Institute. The Remember Institute. May we remember, right? So there it is. It's rememberinstitute.com. And she has an open house that's going to be happening. There's again the next course, August 18th through October 6th. But she has a open house that's going to take place.
Yeah, Scott, this open house is automated, so you can visit it 24/7, anytime you want. It's there. And there's videos from our students. There's videos of our teachers. Our master teachers are all people of color or members of other marginalized groups. So, and they're degreed and well-versed and really amazing teachers.
Yeah, so if you go to the Remember Institute, you go to the campus menu, you click campus lobbying courses, and then you'll find the open house. And that's where you can then go in and really learn all about what she's offering. So, Reverend Bridge, thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
God bless everyone.
Well, I think we definitely have a lot to digest. And that's why we have amazing musicians on our show, soulful musicians. And when I knew we were doing this show and we were going to deal with tough stuff, that's why I thought of these two beautiful souls you're looking at, Honey of the Heart, because they really do sing from the heart in a very soulful way. So, hello, Justin. Hello, Marin. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks, Scott, for having us.
I've been in tears multiple times listening this last hour, like gratitude and grief tears. So it feels fitting that we move into this song. This is a brand new, probably the most new song.
This is called Disaster, and it's working between grief and then moving through to praise.
Yeah, what does it take to go where we need to go for real change to sustain? I'll try not to cry. First we grieve and let go heart on our sleeve. And first we grieve, then we tap into what we truly believe.
The rhythm is around me just before I breathe. Let the rhythm come and feel the grounding. Listen for the vision of the taste and feeling. For the mother's happy, we are always listening.
It's a disaster.
We can praise till the end of my days.
It's a disaster. Yeah.
Feel the lights as they turn to tears.
Moving much faster than we can get past.
Oh, can you hear me, mama? Raise my glass. Tend my tears till they turn to laughter.
Tend my tears till they turn to laughter. Next we integrate and make the connections between. Next we integrate, then we get down to what this all really means. It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
See me, mama, raise my glass. Tend my tears till they turn to laughter.
And what we're after means to feel it from the roots into the rafters.
See me, mama, raise my glass. Tend my tears till they turn to laughter. Tend my tears till they turn to laughter.
It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Calling us to step up and be kind. Take the reins of my mind.
Find some arms to fall in. Find some ground to wail on. Find the strength to move on, so you can be one with what is all undone.
Oh, what is a disaster? Perhaps there's a master plan. Opportunity to break it down.
Break it down.
See beyond where we've come from. What is lost? What is found?
Rhythm is around me just before I breathe. Let the rhythm come and feel the grounding. Listen for the vision of the taste and feeling. For the mother's heartbeat, we are always listening. Oh, mama, get a mama, breathe and praise till the end of my days.
As we
Oh, can you hear me,
find a
mama,
sustainable way,
feel the laughs as they turn to tears.
then we
Oh, can you hear me, mama,
pray.
breathe and praise as they turn to tears.
As we
Oh,
find
can you see me,
ourselves
mama, raise my
again
glass,
inside the beginning of the
tears till they turn to
end.
laughter.
Can you hear me, mama, grieve?
Let the rhythm come through.
My days, oh, can you hear me, mama?
Feel the grounding.
Oh, with the lives as they turn to tears. Oh, can you see me, mama,
Listen
breathe?
to the vision.
Breathe and praise till the end of my days.
On the taste
Oh, can you hear
and
me, mama, raise
feeling.
my glass?
Turn the
Turn my
rhythm.
tears to turn to laughter.
Turn my tears till they turn to laughter. Turn my tears till they turn to laughter. Turn my tears till they turn to laughter. Turn my tears till they turn to laughter. Turn my tears till they turn to laughter. Turn my tears till they turn to laughter.
You too. God bless you. What a perfect song for tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for the honor.
God bless you both so much. I want to encourage people to go to their website, which is their name, honeyoftheheart.com. And there's a lot of really wonderful things there. I'm sorry, I got so caught up in your song that I forgot to pull up your. It's one of those shows.
We're happy to also transfer the time over to those who need to be heard more than us. So please.
Well, I do want to encourage everybody to go to honeyoftheheart.com. We're so grateful to have them with us. Every time you play, it's so beautiful, such beautiful and such a perfect song. You know, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. You know, one of the things that we do on this show every week now is we have what we call Wisdom Jewels. The Wisdom Jewels are created by Jay Mayer and Jane Kaplan, sponsored by Light Touch, where they take quotes that are relevant to our show. And they did a beautiful job this week. So let's take a couple minutes to look at this week's Wisdom Jewels. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you, Jan. Great job as always. And to introduce our next wonderful presenter, I'm turning it back over to my co-host, Trish.
I'm so excited to introduce Miss Ava Park. Just get there really quick. Ava Park, the author, The Queen Teachings for Women with Ava, the definitive course on the Queen archetype in women, originator, the 4 powers of woman, taught Sunday services for women. She's a Tibetan activist, educating the public about Tibetan culture, oppression of the Chinese government, human rights activist. She hosts Visionaries radio show on KUCI for 5 years, animal rights activist, arrested over 20 times in civil disobedience, leading anti-vivisection and
Vivisection.
Protest, founding and say that again.
Anti-vivisection.
Anti-vivisection section. Thank you. And she's a women's rights activist, founding and holding the only feminist center of its kind in the world from 2003 to the present. Awardee and Person of the Year of OC Weekly, Orange County Weekly, right? Graduate of Women's Theology, not misspelling, right? Reformed Congregation of the Goddess, Incorporated, Women's Mysteries of Ancient and Future Sisterhood, Vajra Ma.
Great teacher, great teacher.
And you can find that at www.greatgoddess.org. Enneagram certification in 2016, speaker to civic, spiritual, religious, and human potential groups. We are so blessed to have you here. Thank you, Ava.
Well, it is absolutely my great, great pleasure to be with you all. And I have this lovely little slideshow that we're just going to move through very quickly. First of all, big thanks to Trish, and Scott, and Antoinette, who I'm just meeting now, and Deborah, who I know, and Pato, and everyone who's brought this together tonight, because this is such marvelous work. And it's just a pleasure to hear all these brilliant people and musicians and thoughts and good hearts. I asked permission of the Ahushman ancestresses. These are the ancient ancestresses of what is now called Orange County. It was not always called Orange County, and we recognize that. And we always ask permission of these ancient ancestresses, led in part, co-led by Reverend Adelia Sandoval, who has taught at our museum and temple many times. Magnificent, magnificent woman. So we acknowledge that, and we ask permission of the ancestresses of this land to speak. We have the Museum of Women, which is now only online. We were 18 years in Orange County. And we have beautiful statues, huge 15-foot high statues of goddesses of 25,000 years ago from all cultures, virtually all cultures, Asian cultures, Egyptian, European. And we were in Orange County at a beautiful location near the airport for 18 years. But as I mentioned in the opening before everyone joined, the Orange County Health Department forced us closed, as they closed all museums in this area. So we put all of our magnificent artifacts in storage, and we are now looking for our new space. So this is what networking is all about. I appeal to all of you to please keep your eyes open and let us know if there's an appropriate space. We need about 3,200 square feet. A little more, a little less, and we can reopen our gorgeous museum again and have members of the public come and look at and be educated about the hidden history of woman and what she has contributed for 250,000 years. Everyone on this planet, every culture, venerated goddess long before any idea of a male deity. So the balance that is beautifully brought by seeing these images is just soul nurturing. It really is. We are the originators of the Queen Teachings for Women, as Trish mentioned, and we do teach those online now and back in person very soon when we have our our new location, based on the 4 powers of woman: maiden, mother, queen, and wise woman. And we do have Sunday services for women online, and for members only in person now that many people are getting together in person. So members only, we meet in Irvine. And we do many other things, but let's press on. We are talking about equality in relationships. And here's a picture of one of my favorite wise women from whom I have learned so much. Her name is Kathy Murty, longtime member and generous contributor to the museum. And she taught me something that I will share, that perhaps some of you have heard and perhaps some not. Perhaps not all of you will agree with this idea, and I do not claim that this idea solves every problem, or that at the end of implementing this idea, it's a panacea and that everything will be fine. No, but it does work a lot. It does work a lot. Humanity grew up for millennia, for maybe millions of years, in tribes of 100 to 150. This is what modern progressive archaeologists tell us. And so you grew up in this tribe of 150 people, no more, and you never really encountered anyone who thought differently. The tribe had its values, and all members of the tribe subscribed to these values. It was your worldview, the way you behaved, the way you ate, the way you dressed, the way you thought. It was all, everybody felt the same way pretty much. And maybe once in a while you might meet another tribe, and if they were similar enough to you, then you might trade with them. If they were not very similar to you, you might have a battle with them. But you could go your entire life, in certain earlier times of human history, you could go your entire life never meeting anybody who thought significantly differently from you. And now it's not that way at all, of course. Now all the tribes of people are coming much closer together. Climate change is forcing refugees to leave. Violence and crime is forcing refugees to leave and come here. And now there's all this fear of the other. There's fear of not enough. Oh, these others will take what I have. They'll take my jobs. They're different. I don't understand them. I don't like difference. Wayne's World, we fear change. So we now are at a point in human history where we must look at the fact that we need a global vision for what equality and justice is. I was working with the Standing Rock tribe in South Dakota, and I had occasion to use this technique that Kathy Murty taught me. And I was getting ready to go, and I have a family member that happens to live in South Dakota, and we were having a conversation, and she really put me down. It shocked me. She had all these dreadful stereotypes of Indigenous people and all the things you know people can say. And she decried me. Oh, those people have plenty of money. They've got a casino. Why are you contributing to their cause? They're lazy, they're drunks. And I was shocked. But Kathy had just taught me this technique. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try it out. Why not? I've got nothing to lose. She seems very adamant about her opinion. And that was not the way we were raised. So it really shocked me. And so the technique is to make a space no matter how much you disagree with what the other party is saying. And the simple technique is just to say over and over again, what else? And let them talk. Let them say whatever it is that they're going to say, and then say again, what else? And I started using this technique. I did not criticize her. I did not argue with her. I made a space for her beliefs, which were abhorrent to me, because I do not believe that you persuade people by pure logic. I don't believe anybody's persuaded by logic. And I don't believe anybody is persuaded by force. I believe force only instigates counterforce. And so I thought, I'm trying this. What else? What else? And about 10 minutes into her ranting, she kind of came up with something new. Well, I guess they don't really have, much opportunity there. They have to drive miles for a job. And then she softened a little bit, and I said, what else? And she softened a little bit more, and I said, what else? And it took about 20 minutes. But at the end, she came to her own conclusion about the truth of these people she had decried and villainized. And the last thing she said to me was kind of in sort of this defeated tone, like she knew she had completely, there was no winning and losing, but she knew that she had lost the argument in a wonderful way. And she said, well, I guess we have taken everything away from them. And I just said, thank you for the conversation. And it changed her view of everything because I made a space for her. And she ended up taking that space. And so my suggestion that you might try with a family member or a loved one or a neighbor is just see, and I'm not saying this works every time. There are people in the world with whom I'm quite sure this would not work. And with those people, you simply must have excellent boundaries and do whatever you can to keep yourself safe and keep your world in order and protect others. But a lot of people might, if you give them enough space, they might come to a different conclusion. If you do not try to pressure them with force, if you do not try to use techniques, subtle manipulation techniques to try to get them to agree with you, logic and such, just let them have a space. All human beings want the same thing. Reverend Bridget said it earlier. They all want well-being. They all want their basic needs met. They all want safety. They all want opportunity. They all want a reasonable standard of life where they have what they need. They want community. And so we need to enter into, and we need to lead the way, those of us who care about these things and are interested in these things, all the people on this call, we need to enter into a new way of making a space so that others can come to conclusions that are about compassion and justice and equality, fairness, beauty, goodness. And I believe that's what everybody on this call is doing. And I am so, so grateful to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate you all.
Oh, thank you, Ava. And thank you for the way you come forward in support of women. It's so incredibly important. And, this show is all about standing up for justice, and that includes justice for women, which obviously we have a long, long, long way to go in terms of coming to equality there as well. Trish and I are looking forward to visiting you, though, in the Museum of Women and Woman. And just want to encourage everybody, you can go to Ava's website. It's Museum of Woman, singular, WOMAN.US. Museumofwoman.us. And it's a wonderful thing you've created. And I look forward to seeing it in person. Thank you so much. And
that will be my joy, my joy.
Looking forward to it. And thanks for coming on to our show, Ava. So, we've heard from people of color, we've heard about women, and I'm really grateful that Chief Reuben George has joined us. He was on our show once before, and I was so moved by his accomplishments and what he successfully has created in his community. And I'm just going to read just a little bit about him. He's a Sundance chief and a family counselor with over 25 years of experience in the healing field. He has worked with the First Nations tribes in wellness, correctional centers, addiction treatment centers, school districts, both Canadian and United States social services and colleges and universities. He's traveled the world creating allies with Indigenous people who stand for water, land, and human rights. He's probably one of the best known voices in his local media as well as internationally in the conversation about the proposed Kinder Morgan TMX pipeline and other related issues. Ruben, thank you so much I know you just drove down a long ways today to be with us and to be here on time. Thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Hi. Here, I'm going to show you something pretty cool. Check that out.
Wow.
That's 150-pound halibut I caught.
Wow.
So you know, I'm going to go through really quick about what I talked about last time and how I'm going to relate it to that halibut. So we did a 1,200-page assessment, a spill analysis, a clean analysis, an economic study, air quality study, all based on Tsleil-Waututh Nation law, which is Coast Salish law. Our law is truth, family, health, and culture. Then you add any of the fundamentals of any religious and spiritual belief to that foundation of love, honor, respect, and all those good things that create a good human being. So that was the foundation of our law, which we had to prove in court, which is ridiculous because since time out of mind, we've been here and we had to prove that too. But with all the research we did, and we worked with world-renowned scientists, world-renowned economists, and we went to court. We won the first time, we lost the second time. We applied to Supreme Court, and we were denied. So we needed to gather some, but not only that, I also consult, and I own shares in two companies. One is a medicinal cannabis store. We have a 30,000 square foot grow. We have six dispensaries. We're the first. We have the first. Also, we're moving into psychedelics. We are the first licensed lab in Canada. We have 32. Right now we have 32 different formulas approved. So with the team that I'm working with, they're amazing because all of us want to make sure that we make money so we could go where we want, when we want, work with who we want, not have money be an issue. Because there's a lot of work that needs to happen. So I do consult the company, the psilocybin company, what I'm a founder of, and I consult the cannabis company as well. And so the same fundamentals of what I'm talking about, we incorporated into our business. And my partners think the same way. And it's the same with our nation where we're dealing with social services. We come from the same principles. Housing, the same principles. Education, the same principles. It's everything the same principles. It's funny because I'm the spokesperson and I'm out front and speaking, but all my brothers and sisters, nephews and nieces, and my kids could do what I do and can speak what I do. And when they get it, when they feel like it, they can and they will and they do. And so I have a really good nation that I work with, and we're moving forward and we're pretty progressive. We also have the biggest solar panel in the lower mainland of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Biggest solar panel farm. So we're going in that direction. We just don't protect what we have, but we enhance what we have. What I explained earlier, our salmon count went down to 6,000. We brought it up to 6 million in 10 years. We reintroduced elk into our traditional territory. The elk brought back wolves, grizzly bears, flowers, birds, started completing that ecosystem. Second biggest port in North America or in the west coast of North America is Vancouver. And it's when you have a port, everything spills and gets dirty and gets messed up. We've been cleaning it to the degree for the first time in 40 years we did a clam harvest. So we protect and we enhance what we have in lands, waters, and people, and we're successful. But we hit a roadblock because when we won in court, we still lost. So I went up north to speak with some of our allies, and they won in court. The Haida, that's right across from Alaska, and in central British Columbia is the Wet'suwet'en. They both have been battling pipelines and battling different things, protecting their land, water, and people, but they think the same way we do. So I went up there and met with them. And it was so important that I did that because I'm an urban Indian, First Nation, and our reservation's pretty close to downtown Vancouver, but I really needed to reconnect. And what I explained before about our law and how we incorporate spirit into it. If you take any elements, and I prayed all over the world with beautiful people in the jungles in Brazil and Southeast Asia and in the outback in Australia. And when you put two elements together, it's simple. Everybody knows smudge. Everybody has a smudge, but you take the earth, which is the sage, and you take a match, which represents the sun, and you put those together and smoke comes out of it and you could see it. But what that smoke represents is a spirit. So that's part of our law too, that you put two things together, a spirit could be born out of that. Even when you sing a song, because we're human beings and the air is a spirit and you connect with it, it could send a message out to the heavens just with your song, with that belief. So that's our law. But I went up there to experience that. They live the same way we used to when I was younger. 80% of our traditional diet of Tsleil-Waututh people came out of the water, and it still does for them. They're still fishing and protecting that fish. Salmon, halibut, that's fish and chips for people. Salmon, halibut, and deer and elk, and they still live really, really traditional. And when they harvest it, they share their legends and stories behind it. It's not just, I went out fishing with them. They sat and talked about their legend of a halibut. They talked about how it's a gift, how it's a brother, how it's a sister. And then even in our language, we explain that, because in our language, we say Natsama, one heart, one mind, one prayer, one spirit. And that's the oneness of everything. I see Brother Chase is here. They say Metakiase. That's all my relations, that everything's interconnected. Everything's interconnected. So when I went there with them, I heard their legends. I heard their stories. And this is what I really wish for a lot of people, is to go in the forest with people like us and connect with the earth. And that's why people go on long, huge voyages down in South America and over in Bali and Southeast Asia and those places, because they want to search something to connect, but you could do it here. And that's what they taught me, is to reestablish and solidify my relationship to the things that I love, and I invest all my life into protecting. Because out of the water gives me sustenance for my spirit and for my body. And everything I get out of the water is good. Everything going back in the water should be good. And that's why we fight them. $350 billion company. I spoke at the Kinder Morgan AGM. 3 months of the day that I spoke there, their stock fell by 60%. Their dividends were cut by 74%. When we go with spirit, and that's what I do in all my work, whether it's business, whether it's protecting the lands, waters, and people, and the murder, missing women, all that stuff, the residential schools. I've been a part of the ceremonies and the things that have been going on. The churches, they found 715 little children in the residential schools, just in one school, that were kids that were murdered. And so, protecting that and bringing awareness to that and helping the healing from that. And it's amazing about those survivors that survive that, because they're embracing and teaching everybody. And that's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. And it's incorporating those values into what we do. And how we do that is connecting. You could light a smudge, and I teach people who come to my ceremonies all the time. You can light your smudge, but go pick your sage. Go pick your sweetgrass. Go learn about it. Go explore it. Go and be with it. And look at it. Look at the sage. No animals eat it. No insects eat it. Same with tobacco. Maybe introduced from other countries may eat it now, but nothing did, because it's a gift of Creator for us to use to give thanks. Or even when you think of the plants, they're reaching up with their leaves and they're catching the energy of the sun. They're catching that energy, and then you light it, and then it burns, and it's releasing that energy of the sun. Explore and think of those ideas. And I know it was a business meeting to protect our lands, waters, and people, but it was a spiritual journey. And that's what I hope for everybody, because you can't pretend that. You can't be mystical about that. It's a connection that is so important. It's so important. And I know everybody here knows what I'm talking about. I know you do the same things. And that's what we got to encourage people. And that's what I do. That's a breed success for my nation, for my people. And what came out of that meeting is we're going to have a summit that nations that think like us and lead with culture and spirituality. There's about a dozen of them in British Columbia, and there's probably a dozen more across Canada that they went to Supreme Court and they're stuck. And here's what Canada does. No matter what it is, if it's murdered, missing women, dealing with the residential schools, protecting against fossil fuels, Canada deals with First Nations the same. And they make it difficult. They continuously make it difficult. And we have to go to court, we have to sue them, we have to protest, we have to do all that. But it's right across the board. No matter if it's municipal, federal, or provincial, they're getting direction from way up above, telling them how to deal with First Nations. So what we came out of that meeting is we're going to unite. We're really going to unite, and we're going to deal with them from the same level of our same law of truth, family, health, and culture, with those fundamentals of humanity applied to it. And that's what we're going to do. So
Beautiful.
I think, am I time up?
It is, but I want us to repeat that: truth, family, health, and culture.
So another, that's the name of my show too. You could watch it on Sacred Ecology. I missed the last 2 weeks, but it's every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Check it out. I have speakers that are my friends from across Canada and the United States, and they come on and they're doing the same work as me. And in every community, there's somebody like me in the First Nation community doing it, and I try to get them on the show. And not just First Nations, allies too, beautiful allies, because we're not going to do it alone. You breathe air and drink water. We got to do something.
Please put that link in our
Thank you, Chief. And thank you so much for like explaining, because for me, I always thought like, Trudeau, we're all in love with Trudeau. With all that he's doing, he's recognizing First Nations. But there was a documentary about the water that was going on. And it's like the community, the indigenous community is still getting slammered, hammered, still dumping, still not doing the right things and everything. So it's like, on the face front, it looks good for everybody because they're like recognizing the indigenous community, but also at the same time, the policies and the systems in place are still hurting the same communities that they're trying to sit there and recognize and put up front and sit there and say they're doing whatever. So your issue that's happening in Canada is still the same issues that's happening in America. We think it's happening even better, but it's still not totally clear. We're still not there yet. We're still trying to get there and everything. And thank you, respect you so much for the work that you're actually doing as we're going all the way up, because we do go into Vancouver. Our tour is taking us up into Port Angeles. Normally we would cross the bridge, take that boat ride over into Canada, but not this time around, but we'll definitely be there. And please, let's link up and everything. Let's get this voice out. Let your message be heard. Let the people sit there and respect, because for me as a woman, the water is the most important thing. It's like, it's a divine spirit with the mother, with the earth, with everything else and stuff, so let us all be together. Thank you so much, Chief.
I'll just say one thing about Trudeau. Now that you brought him up, my son, I did a prayer and I said, I want to debate Richard Kinder Morgan. 2 days later, I was at the Kinder Morgan AGM in Houston, Texas, in their building. And that's when I spoke and their stock fell. Then I got home and I said, I want to debate Trudeau. And my prayer was answered, but it wasn't me. It was my son. My son did it. And he's a young man, and Trudeau was saying, it was a dinner and all his friends chipped in and paid $2,000 for him to go to this fundraiser. And Trudeau got up to speak and he's saying, I'm making choices for our Canada's future generations. And my son goes, that's a lie. That's a lie. and he got up and he gave it to him, and he started debating my son. And he tried to put him down a little bit. And he said, well, let's thank Cedar. And he knew my son's name. He goes, let's thank Cedar for his $2,000 donation to the Liberal Party. And they all sort of clap and mocking my son. And he goes, that doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. We're still going to stop the pipeline. I said, and then he says, this was the key thing. He said, he goes, you're a weak leader. he said, "How does that sound, Dad?" And I said, "Yeah, say that. That sounds good." But it's true, and he did really well. He answered my prayer for me.
Aww.
You know, I'm really
That's your son, and big ups to your family and everything, because it's like if your kids aren't involved, it's like where else are we going? Where else are we moving forward to? So thank you so much.
The future
They're young.
Exactly.
They present with Chase before. My kids, they went to United Nations. My daughter 3 times, and my son 4 times, and they traveled. They've been to support Chase and some stuff that he was doing. So, I adopted into a Lakota family, one in Canada, one in the States. So it's good to see you, brother. But yeah, my kids and my mom, she got arrested 3 times. She changed herself to the fence. She's like 80-year-old grandma. She changed herself, and she's like, nobody's going to work today. And they wouldn't arrest her because the media was there. They had like 30 media there, and they wouldn't arrest her. And they told her, they said, we're not arresting you. It's just like,
awesome. That's awesome.
We're actually sitting on native land right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where you at?
The natives in this area have been here for 12,000 years. The Pomo Indians.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
What area is that?
Yeah.
Did not know. Tell us.
Well, that's just reading, because I know that this is a reservation.
In Lakewood, California,
Okay.
kind of, in the northern part of north of San Francisco, in the wine country.
And just a little bit about that is that it also moves into Mendocino counties. And there's a woman here who's one of the last basket weavers, and she's amazing. Her name's Corinne Pierce. And if you guys, if you're humans,
tent out there.
No. She has this really she's a teacher of basket weaving, and she's one of the most amazing, beautiful women I've ever met. And if you ever get a chance to take one of her classes or watch her there's a bunch of specials and shows, just check her out. Corinne Pierce, Pearce. She's wonderful.
You better tell her to come to Coast territory, because I even weaved before. All my family weave, and we're right involved in our culture and spirituality. Everybody, we're really revived everything.
I want to thank, we are way running late, and I know you've got a concert to get to, so I so apologize. Ruben George, you are such a beautiful role model. The way that you combine your love of life with your activism, with your community, the way you have along with others, rebuilt your community in a powerful way, the way you are standing up to the government and to the corporations, and you, your son, your community, you are educating us and inspiring us. Thank you so much. And please put into the chat box, because I didn't have it, the link for your show, and I'll come back and I'll show that to everybody.
Put your link for your concert. My kids live in Tulalip, part-time. All right, we're gonna sit there and post a link, either from the Love Coach Academy page. Yes. So we're gonna actually start the live stream from that page.
Great. Well, actually, what we can do is I'll talk to you guys about it. We can just keep this show running. I'll just keep this show running and you can just go. So anybody, what you just heard that's really cool is Pato and Antoinette are doing this amazing concert. And so when we finish the regular part of the show, our after show is going to be their concert. So that's going to be very, very exciting. I'll just have to figure out how we're going to do that. But we will do that. So speaking of which, I really want to remind everybody that we are sponsoring Stand Up for Justice, the Jane campaign. And I want to thank all the people that have donated. Jay Mayer, thank you so much for your very generous donation. Jay, you are such an angel. I also want to thank Mark Denisovsky, who donated twice tonight. Mark Sims, one of our sponsors, a regular, you all know Mark, you see him on the show all the time. He donated. A lot of anonymous donations, so thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous. Also want to thank Lisa, Julia, Jennifer, Iona, Anonymous, Michael Nay, thank you, Michael. Connie and Andrew, two of our regulars, Anonymous, Ben, Michael, Daniel, Francine, more anonymous, Sophia, Deirdre, Jan Kaplan. God bless you, Jan. Thank you. Michelle, John Raymer, Pamela Young, Susan, David, Susie Karasik, who's with us right now. Thank you, Susie, for your donation, and myself, Scott Thomas. Thank you, everybody, for your generosity. Please, let's continue to support the Stand Up for Justice program. It's really, really valuable. And we are now going to go.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you,
Scott. Thank you for all the donors. I just want to sit there and express to you guys the reason why I started the organization was because things were like falling to different places through different people and different things. And we wanted to sit there and make sure it's like we want to sit there and do the work that needs to be done. Have the conversations, do the work, get out there, not building people's houses or homes or, they get, 80%, to them and 20% to the people and everything. We are Stand Up for Justice for all people. We want to sit there and make sure that we are including all people. We want to make sure their voices are heard. And it's really difficult and it's really hard because, for me personally, watching how so many people sat there and said it's like all the corporations, everybody said they was going to invest billions of dollars into our communities. And what has happened? None of that is happening. They said they was going to defund the police. Now they've increased the police budget. What is going on here? It's like, I need to go down there. Even at the Juneteenth celebration, these officers, when I told them about the Jane campaign, they were like, we haven't heard about it. I said, yo, bro, these are my brothers here. They said, we want to be involved in this. What do we need to do? It takes time, it takes energy. And I guarantee you the way me and my husband work, and it's the same reason why we're doing free concerts all along. There's no money saved up in our savings account. Everything is going to the people for the people, no matter what. I don't care what nobody ever says. And then when I ask him, how are we going to pay our rent? How are we going to pay our bill? He says, God will pay the bill. So everything we always give out always gives a 100% in return. So we're trying to support the people. We are for the people. We are totally legit. There's no, even on this tour, I was sitting there like, they said we're doing free concerts. Next thing you know, I'm like, yo, we're trying to help the people. We're trying to support the people. We're trying to do everything for the people. So Stand Up for Justice, we're talking about Indigenous. We're talking about Black lives do matter. We never said nobody else didn't matter. Everybody matters. Special needs, LGBTQ plus 9 to the 13th power, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. We got you. We got you. Everything is in there. We just need liberty, equality, equity for all people. That's all we're saying and everything. So thank you so much, Scott, because, since I met you last year, but I'm going to hug you today. I'm going to give you a big, big hug. I'm going to give you a big COVID love virus, So that's what we're doing. We're the love virus. Yeah, I got you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we're going to live stream. So even the people who are sitting there like, charging money for the live stream and this. No. I will set it up myself personally. Everybody watch the concert for free. We're going to stream it from Love Coach Academy, from Pato Bantan page. Watch the concert, feel the vibe. Everybody come into a One Love experience.
All right. So I'm going to try and get us through this show so I can get in the car, drive to the concert, and of course, everybody else will be able to watch it online. It's taking place about 35 minutes from my home, everybody. I want to thank our broadcast partners who make this all happen. And so many of you are watching us on all the Facebook pages. You can still come on into the Zoom room. There's a really dynamic conversation going on in the Zoom room between our presenters and our Zoom members. Come to globalpeacetribe.com. Register, globalpeacetribe.com and come on in and be with us. And I also want to thank all the people that bring our show out to the world. Of course, so many of you are watching on Unify. We reach tens of thousands of people through Unify. I want to thank John and Summer Raymer, our friends with the Sign Network. They're, of course, good friends with Antoinette and with Trish. Our good buddy Alan Steinfeld, New Realities TV. Alan just let me know he's got Deepak Chopra is going to interview Alan for the Omega Institute. That's pretty cool. Of course, Light Touch is our ongoing sponsor, Jan and Jay, whom we love, and they make so many things happen for us. So God bless everybody. Let's all do Light Touch. It's such a beautiful way to connect to ourselves and to each other. And for more information, please go to light-touch.me. I want to thank our friends at New Earth One, my company, Love Coach Academy, that I share with Trish and many others, Earth Dance, Humanities Team, Portal to Ascension, Disclosure Fest, Global Days of Unity, Earth Walk, and our newest broadcast partner, the Enlightened World Network. Thank you, everybody, for that. And to share a few more announcements and to give some appreciations, here is my wonderful friend and co-host, Trish.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. And I'm delighted to give some shout outs and announcements for Global Peace Tribe. Again, thank you so much for your donations. That's what makes all of our communities work and move forward in the world. So your love and your energy and that financial donation, that financial energy really makes a difference. Please help us promote Saturday Night Live, and you can help co-create season 6, an incredible mix, making contact, building connections, and raising consciousness by signing up for the new season. And there's lots of other ways to help as well. So spread the word about season 6, an incredible mix, by sharing this link out, by signing up, by sharing out our promo video, and you can find that in the link or on the Facebook pages. And you can also find it in our email list. So if you're not on that, it's a good place to find us. As well as signing up, you can pay it forward. So you can sign up and send your friends over here, and you can also give them the gift of being able to watch and join our Zoom room and our early shows and our after shows. You can give that gift to your friends as well if you're really, getting a lot out of the show, and it's beautiful. You can also volunteer, and this is a big act of service, is a huge way to share your love. So help us grow the next season by volunteering, and especially if you have superpower around social media. I know you're watching. I know the wheels are turning. You can also sponsor one of our shows for this season or the next, and that will help us keep this show going. So if you're sitting here and you're really getting a lot out of this show and these beautiful, amazing humans, really think about sponsoring a show. I'm really, really excited about next week's show as well, and it's going to be fantastic. It is a wholehearted special, and I've just spent an entire week in their recording studio, and they are probably the most lovely men I've ever met in my whole life. They're just like so loving, and they are pulling together an entire group of impactful presenters on trauma. We have Gabor Mate, TJ Woodward, and a plethora of other incredible, profound speakers. And we'll be coming live from the production studio. So again, wholehearted.org, go ahead and totally check them out. We're going to be promoting some incredible presenters and an amazing comedian. We're going to laugh, and we're going to cry, and we're going to dance. So these are the new faces of Saturday Night Alive. So back to you, Scott, and I'm excited.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you so much. And now you guys are watching, Saturday Night Live, and you see how we just are covering so many wonderful bases. Last week it was Mark Sims and all the latest of what's going on with government disclosure, UFOs. Tonight it's racial and social justice with Antoinette, and Chase Iron Eyes is about to come on up. Great music. And next week it's going to be all about how to really manage addiction and recovery with some of the most amazing leaders. including Gabor Mate. And wait till you hear, we've got a comedian coming into the studio with us, just like Antoinette's with Trish today. We've got this really funny guy who's all of his comedy is around addiction and recovery. And like great comedy, there's like truth and wisdom in there. So here's a little 1-minute video just to give you a little sample size of next week. Saturday Night Live, dining with Whole Heart.
Yourself, or you perceive the other person as having hurt you, your response is to withdraw.
Many men are taught to not access their feelings.
Humor will highlight hurt, illuminate illness. That's what it does.
And really, if you have not registered yet for our season, please go to globalpeacetribe.com. All of you watching on Facebook, yeah, you and you also. Go to globalpeacetribe.com right now, register so that you're getting all the information about the amazing things that we've got going on. We're going to hear from Honey of the Heart and Chase Iron Eyes soon. But I also wanted to remind everybody that there's a very special event taking place, and it's going to be our own private party with Jeff McBride, who's an incredible magician, really just an amazing guy. And I've known him, he's been on our show. If we weren't running late, I was going to show actually a video of some of his magic, but we're running late, so I'm going to kind of just show the poster. It's a private party, and it's going to be a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom webinar. That means that all of us are on camera, we're all together, and Jeff does remarkable magic. He just, they gave out the International Magician Awards. He came in third. David Copperfield and Chris Magic were first and second, and he was third. That's how amazing this.
Sorry, Scott. We scooped up Pato for a quick second.
Well, we got
down the entire night. We got Pato for a quick second.
Hey, Pato, welcome aboard. How are you, buddy?
I'm very good. Much love to all the family here. Peace and love.
I'm so looking forward to finishing the show, getting in the car and zipping over to the concert, hearing you live, and then finally getting those hugs. And
it's an amazing crowd here today. Everybody's camping. They've got their chairs. They got their picnic stuff. Kids are running around. There's
sold out.
It's multicultural. It's just beautiful.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Fantastic. Well, can't wait to hear your music. And we've been really encouraging everybody, of course, to support Stand Up for Justice, the Jane campaign. And people are being generous with their donations. So, Pato, thank you so much for jumping in and giving us a minute or two. And we'll look forward to seeing you live.
I just want to say I really appreciate all the work you've been doing, my brother. You know, I just want to encourage you to keep up the good work. And your amazing partner over here, partner in crime. She's so beautiful. You know, she was beautiful on screen, but even more beautiful in person. So I'm surrounded by 3 beautiful women right here, right now. So I need to get out of here quickly.
Well, thank you so much, Pato.
Well, I love you guys so much. And I just want to, say, the tour's been really good so far. Lots of people have been coming out, hearing the message, loving the message. Antoinette has been really on the I'm more on the front line right now of the peace and love, sharing the good news. Antoinette's just radically sharing, stand up for justice, and asking everyone to just step up to the plate to help us bring about change for not only this generation, but the next generation to come. And it's really going to be a team effort, you know. And some people feel helpless, you know, some people that we've spoken to, they're like, what can I do? I'm just one person, you know, but, you know, it takes a team, it takes a community of ethical, moral, you know, true-hearted, kind-hearted, loving, empathic, sympathetic people. And when everybody contributes a little bit, you know, it makes the whole. And that's what we need. We need every person to just say something on their page, whatever, you know, social media they use.
Or their family.
You know, or send a text to the family, say, hey, family, what do you think about this? You know, break down some of those barriers in your family, in your community. And, you know, you may not be the most popular person for a few months, but once people see that this is the path you've taken, you know, they will begin to understand you and love you regardless. You know, even if they don't fully understand you, they will love you because they will be able to see that you believe in this and you're trying to be a person that's making change in the world, not just accepting it and compromising your own personal level of love for humanity. So, you know, we just need everybody to recognize that their little voice, their individual voice, when it's, you know, when it's pushed forward in any way possible, it becomes a part of the whole voice. And that whole voice is the tidal wave, which will sweep humanity and bring about a new era of change.
Beautiful. You know, I'm pulling up right now your tour schedule, and we'll post this link. But you can see at the top, that's where they are tonight, Canacti Vista Resort in Lakeport. And then they're on to Gualala, Eureka, Crescent City, Medford, Oregon, Portland, Seattle, then coming back down, Port Angels, Klamath Falls, Lake Tahoe, Mammoth Lake, then down to Southern California again, Redlands, Huntington Beach, Toronto Beach, Shasta. So everybody, if you can, check out their concert.
You should go to my Pato Banton Facebook page. I just updated the schedule.
He added more shows.
Because there's more shows and
so everybody go to
it's more busy than it was.
No days off. We're just working.
We've got 12 shows in a row right now.
How much time do we have until your show goes on in Lakeport? How much time do we have till?
We are on stage in
35 minutes?
Yeah, something like that, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and do a jam with the band that's on stage right now.
Right, Voice of Jazz.
So I love you guys.
All right.
Blessings and love.
All right.
See you soon.
I'm going to record the show. I'm going to sit there. You got it recording?
Yeah.
Thank you, baby.
On the balcony.
All right. Well, we still have Honey of the Heart and Chase Iron Eyes. So with no further ado, I'm going to go back to Justin and Marin. Talk about beautiful music. We are so blessed. Justin and Marin, Honey of the Heart.
So thanks for having us. It's called Better Predicament, and I just hope that we could all create a better predicament with all of our energy here and beyond this evening.
Seasons start to change from summer to fall rain and back into winter again as we start to display. We're overconsumed when breathing these fumes. It's getting harder to live without thinking of you. I don't want your war machine. Stop making babies cry. No, 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 no. I don't want your war machine. Stop making babies cry. No, 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 no. Is a fool on the street, why use what you need? No to you for your greed, making me really see it's a better predicament if I just close my eyes. Make a system without greed or compromise. Evolution is spirit, generations have passed. Make a new order to take down the capitalist, crack up the whip to enslave off our shores. So consumed and consuming, we become the slave before we knew what happened and our backs turned around. Belly of the beast, swimming for 200 years on our ground. As seasons start to change from summer to fall rain and back into winter again as we start to display, we're overconsumed, we're breathing these fumes. It's getting harder to live without thinking of you. I don't want your war machine. Stop making babies cry. No, 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 no. I don't want your war machine. Stop making babies cry. No, 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 no. Daring I see time and nothing but an obstacle. Beauty in my mind that will make me whole. And the family wise as elders birth vision for Aquarius to lie. Seasons start to change from summer to fall rain and back into winter again as we start to display. We're overconsumed. We're breathing these fumes. It's getting harder to live without thinking of you. I don't want your war machine. Stop making babies cry. No, 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 no. I don't want your war machine. Stop making babies cry. No, 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 no. Is a fool on the street, why use what you need? No to you for your greed, making me really see it's a better predicament if I just close my eyes. Make a system without greed or compromise. Evolution is spirit, generations have passed. Make a new order to take down the capitalist, crack up the whip to enslave off our shores. So consumed and consuming, we become the slave before we knew what had happened and our backs turned around. Belly of the beast and went for 200 years on our ground. And the deal for my children's children to be making products where they steal, popping up a lung from dinosaur bones. I don't want your throne, I don't want your throne. Oh, take the soil and make the seed. You have your own two hands to plow and weed. You have the cloud above to rain on down. You have the mountain of love around. Oh, well. to change from summer to fall rain, back into winter again as we start to display. We're overconsumed, we're breathing these fumes. It's getting harder to live without thinking of you.
Oh, that guitar is so gorgeous. Holy moly. It's just, it's just beautiful guitar. Beautiful guitar, Justin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott, and for all of you guys putting on a beautiful event.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, remember, everybody, you can go to the website, honeyoftheheart.com. You guys got any shows coming up? Are you guys starting to do live gigs?
We are. We're actually all booked up in August and into September, and we're doing 2 house concerts at our own house. We pretty much redid our backyard as a venue, and we're inviting people over to drink gin and listen to music on July 30th and August 13th. We have 25 pre-sale tickets only, so they're on our website.
That's John, not gin.
Yeah, it's like kombucha.
I thought we were talking about some gin. And where are you located geographically?
Grass Valley, California.
Grass Valley. That's close to me. I can do that.
Nice. Come on up.
Yeah, I think we have a house concert set up in Portland too, probably down in the Bay soon, but we're just kind of moving slow with watching that variant coming in, et cetera.
Yeah, we were going to do a retreat that got canceled. In fact, our retreat was going to be this weekend, and the person who owns the retreat site got scared about the Delta variant. And
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You two, so it's July 30th and August 13th. And
Yep.
so those are Friday nights.
Friday nights.
Okay. All right.
And just announced, I think we're going to be playing, we don't have it in our promo yet, but the upcoming Shift Network concert. What is that called again?
I'm not sure.
We'll post it. We'll post.
We always collaborate with the Shift Network, of course, has a big thing in September. So it's probably the big September.
It's the big thing.
The big shift thing.
Yeah.
All right,
We just really want to thank Chase Ironsides for his patience. Really appreciate you waiting out there to say what it is you've got to say. We're excited to hear from you.
All right. Well, thank you. That's a beautiful segue. Thank you, Marin. All right, Chase. Well, as you heard, you're up, and thank you for your patience. And for people who don't know Chase, he's the lead counsel to the Lakota Law Project. He's been fighting for the civil rights of Native Americans, and as the lead local counsel in the Dakotas for the Lakota People's Law Project. He's the co-founder of the Native News website, lastrealindians.com, and he has worked in the Native Lives Matter movement. In 2016, he was the Democratic congressional nominee for North Dakota. Chase has been involved in the front lines of the fight for a long, long time. He was born on the Standing Rock Nation, and today Chase lives at Pine Ridge, where he serves as the public relations director for the Oglala Sioux Tribe President Julian Bear Runner. Chase, you've been involved in a lot of important things. You've done a lot of wonderful work. Thank you for taking some time to be with us. And you're really kind of our closing speaker. And so would love to hear any of your thoughts about where we stand on social and racial justice, any accomplishments that we want to celebrate, and what do we need to do to continue this work.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can.
Kola iuha ichichab, lila daya yahipalo. I'm never stationary. It seems that I'm always moving. So if I can pull over to the side of the road and join you all for even just a little bit, I'm happy with that. I was very happy to see that Chief Reuben George was part of the program. Pato Bantan. Even I missed Mark Sims. I heard Scott say that Mark Sims was on before, and I really, it's an honor to be able to share a little bit of time, a little bit of space with everybody. My name is Chase Iron Eyes. Some of you may have heard about our struggle to defend our birthrights, our natural rights, because those rights are not protected by human-made constitution.
We were hearing you just fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, a call came through.
Okay.
So anyhow, these natural birthrights are not given by any synthetic or human contrived institutions, though we are quite ambitious in trying to create institutions that protect our conceivable rights. We all know that the systems in place, the colonial institutions that began in Europe more than 500 years ago, before European Americans started becoming present on our hemisphere, on this part of Mother Earth, that a different set, a kind of an alien, foreign set of institutions had already been implanted in Europe's indigenous people. Indigenous people meaning those that uphold their side of a cosmologic or sacred covenant. We have those who are now today known as indigenous nations are those nations who still uphold those covenants, who have not forgotten that we have human conduct responsibilities on Earth in order for the seasons to regenerate, in order for those cycles of creation to come again, in order for the sun to bless the earth with his love, in order for the thunders to return, in order for birth, the time of birth every single spring, to bless us with the result of that love. The indigenous peoples still uphold and conduct ourselves according to those covenants. But at one time, we all had that responsibility. And we have been put into a great sleep, so to speak. And little by little, we are returning to an awakened state. We are giving ourselves, our bodies, our flesh, our spiritual strength to those ceremonies. We are offering ourselves, at least in my metaphysical worldview, as a an Ocheti Shakonwi person, or a Lakota person, or a Sioux person. We are giving ourselves so that those cycles recreate themselves. We have an active role, an active participation in doing that. And this great sleep has lasted for a few thousand years. It wasn't, it's not something that just came about. Those entities that seek to feed on human fear, seek to feed on human ignorance, and those divisions and those classifications that they have contrived, like whiteness, for instance, like race, for instance, and like any other of those, like religion, for instance, they've created all of these divisions and classifications based on human inclinations, human frailties, and we have just to go within ourselves, just to spend some time silently, just to connect ourselves to the unitive nature of all creation, of all that is sacred. And some of us do that through music. I agree. Honey of the Heart is playing some wicked music, and I thank you for that. Indigenous nations have, drums. We have, we don't want to call them technological instruments, maybe spiritually technological instruments to connect ourselves to the vibrational frequencies and the wavelengths of the infinite the infinite incomprehensible expansion. Hold on. I know I went dark here, but that's just how it goes sometimes. There we go. I'm literally sitting on the side of the road on my way to the Sacred Black Hills, and I just got out of a sweat lodge. So it's my honor, my privilege to be able to join you. Our voice is another one of these divine instruments. These we can think of them as technologies, just a gift and a blessing that connects us with the unitive expression, the unitive experience of all the powers of creation. And we do this when we stand up for Mother Earth, when we put our bodies in the path of those who would do Mother Earth harm. The financial extractive war machine, which is causing, at its root, is causing racial and working class subjugation. When we stand up against that innately oppressive force, then we are stepping into that red road, that sacred path that will lead us to spiritual liberation. I learned this firsthand at Standing Rock, but it's also evident, it also manifests in the land back prophecy, which says that if we, the human species, just put land back into indigenous hands, the world could begin to heal. And Fool's Crow, one of our prophets, one of our great chiefs, said this. I don't know what year he said it, but it was between the 70s and the 80s. And now, when we are witnessing a climate crisis of unprecedented proportions, we now know that quite clearly, for us to survive, we've got to put land back in indigenous hands. We have to find the strength within ourselves to go stand at line 3. If anybody doesn't know what line 3 is, please look up the GNU Collective, look up Terra Hauska. We need to stand with Chief Reuben George. We need to stand with the Tiny House Warriors. Please look up Canahoos and Mayuk Manuel. Those are the daughters of Art Manuel, rest in power, everlasting. Those are some of the front lines that we feel compelled, because of the state of emergency, because of the urgency. We are compelled to stand against those oppressive institutions of law, of policy, of economics, and socioeconomics. And these will take different forms throughout our lives. But my relatives, I want to thank you for sharing a little bit of time, a little bit of space, wherever you find ceremony, wherever you find divine inspiration and strength to stand against any kind of oppressive force, no matter what the odds are. Go there, my relatives. And I want to thank you. Once again, my name is Chase Iron Eyes. It's my honor to be here with you tonight. Lila Wopila Tanka e Chichapalo Mitakuye Oyasi.
Thank you, Chase. And yes, we did an entire show on June 5th on Pipeline 3. We had Sheehan on the go. I know you and Danny work closely together, and actually that's a good lead in. You can learn a lot more about the wonderful work that Chase is doing by going to lakotalaw.org. lakotalaw.org. You also had on our show last week, earlier on, and he of course works very closely through his Romero Institute with Lakota Law. These are all allies that are working together, and we as Global Peace Tribe need to support all of our allies, including Chase. So again, please learn more about what he's doing. And right away, when you go to lakotalaw.org, right away tell Biden to stop line 3. And that's, of course, where we did the show on June 5th. You can go back into our YouTube channel and see the show that we did on June 5th if you want to learn more about Line 3. And I want to thank you again, Chase, very much for being on our show. And thank you for the great work that you're doing. All right, well, we are wrapping up. I want to acknowledge a few people. I want to thank Susie, who has been filling in for Deborah. Deborah is on kind of a retreat this weekend. But a big thanks. Oh, there's Susie. I'm going to put the spotlight on her. Thank you, Susie. You did a great job of posting all the links and letting everybody know what's going on. So thank you so much. I want to thank Jay Mayer, who also does so much for us, creates those wonderful videos. And he's been following Pipeline 3 and making sure we periodically are going to do stories about that. So thank you, Jay. Thank you, Ava, Park, and all of the other people that have been with us. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to play a wonderful video, the last one that Nina Gray created for us. And then hopefully by the time that video is done, we're going to go live to the concert with Pato and Antoinette. But between now and then, here's a really, again, beautiful video by our dear Nina Gray. She created this just for tonight's show. So here we go with Nina Gray.
If there's one thing I know, if you're tuning in right now, I know that you are a conscious creator of the new earth and the new world. This show and this community attracts the leaders we've been looking for, attracts those that are consciously being the change, and that's exactly what we need to usher in a new dawn for race relations, for diversity to be celebrated in all of its glory, and for the one race that exists, the human race, to come together in harmonic frequency and really live out the dream that we came to live in this existence. This song is in dedication to all of the creators, you, yes, you being one of them, that are not waiting for the government, not reading history books, not waiting on legislation or old paradigm viewpoints to create the world you want to live in. You are actively vibrating in the realm of solution. You are actively showing your compassion, your understanding, your grace, your peace. You are lending a hand and you are stepping into your world saying, it starts with me. We are on the same team, and this song is for you and any other creator paving the way. Hey, Mr. Sculptor, hey, Mr. Builder, when it all comes together, will it make the people better? Hey, Mr. Businessman, Mrs. Shareholder, did you write your 5-year plan for New World Order? Well, we're here to wake you up. No, we won't fall prey to old lies. We've been there before. We knew we had the power to change anything, anything and everything. Oh, the future's ours, and it's all teachers, did you come to make a difference? If not, then leave us, 'cause we're the generation to finish what's been started. Goodbye to the old rules mandated by the harlots. We're here to sing our song, I hope you sing along. We've been waiting on change, and it's been a long, 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 long. We are creators. Yes, we are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide what goes. Love is the heart of everything. Love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. So let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise. Let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise, singing yeah. We are creators. Oh, we are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide, yes, we decide what goes. That's right. You and I and all of us being the change we want to see in the world. Cheers to you, Creator. Love you. Mwah.
She's incredible, isn't she? I don't know about you, but I get tears listening to her, and it's such a powerful anthem. For we are the creators. We are creating this wonderful, difficult, sometimes challenging new world. I'm going to see if my partner Trish. There's your camera. So here's what's going to happen. I am going to stop the recording of one thing, but we're going to stay live on Facebook, and this is going to be really cool. So those of you who are watching, thank you so much. This is going to end up being a YouTube video. So I'm going to stop this recording.